Good morning, everybody. Hello, Brew Crew. It is a great Friday morning. I'm Eric, call sign N1JUR. Welcome, and thanks again for hanging out here at the Brew Crew, Brew and Activate episode this morning. I've got an awesome guest here this morning, which we'll introduce in a second. We are sans KC1OHT this morning. Shannon has got some Christmas activities with her son, so she's off doing school plays and things like that. So she'll be back next week, but I'm sure she's probably hanging out in the chat if she isn't there already. That is always good to see everybody here. But like I said, I've got a guest. Perry, go ahead and say hello.
Hey guys, Perry, W1GRD.
Awesome. Well, Perry is going to be talking about everything related to POTA.News, so I'm looking forward to getting more into that detail and, kind of get into the weeds. It's some great updates there, and hopefully you guys have had a chance to check that out. So please, if I can ask anything today, guys, just kind of be a little, patient with me, because Shannon does all of the background stuff and she runs all the controls in the background. So she's good about, engaging you and pulling stuff in. So I'm going to try to manage all that on top of running all the show and everything. So as always, no problem. I know you guys are great about that. So let's dive in. As we like to say, if you might have joined here for the first time, and I do see a couple of people in here, this is where we get around to exploring, analyzing, reconstructing everything about POTA. So we talk about whether you're an activator, a chaser, or just maybe curious about the hobby. Well, then you come to the right place this morning. We get together every week and we dissect parks on the air, talk about some great things that are going on in and around the community, just like POTA.News is an example. And, we like to share a lot of our tips, the challenges, and the quirky moments that make POTA special for all of us. So as we dive into every week, let's get some of the admin stuff out of the way. Like I said, every week, this stream is ad-free for you guys, so you don't get barraged. So we'd like to kind of keep it that way. And so we kind of need your support. So you can do that, obviously, to help the channel here. You can do the super chats. You can always hit us up on the memberships. And we always like to do a weekly goal. And so for this weekly goal here, I'm going to see if we can get this thing to kick off here. It's giving me a hard time. Let me refresh here and add it. So we're going to set a goal here this morning for the next 45 minutes. For the next 10 super chats, man, it doesn't want to fire a goal off today. Well, screw it. All right. Well, if there's no way to do a goal, then that's just the way it's going to be today. I'm not going to fight YouTube. But just, as always, please help support the channel. Keep this stuff ad-free for you guys. And we'll continue to do that going forward. The other thing, too, is that, if you obviously can't attend these live sessions, we also convert these to a podcast format. So you can head over to our website, but at the same time in the chat here, here is the link to the podcast directly. Well, thank you, Plasma Storm, there for that $5 super chat, man. Appreciate that. And let me pop this back out here so I can see it. There we go, man. Shannon makes this way easier for me. Trust me, I've become spoiled. And so at the same time, you can check out all of our podcasts there. Definitely love the feedback on it. Let me know what you guys think about it. But it's in an audio format, just as we do the show live as well. And you can always head over to our storefront at livefreeandham.com/shop. You can always check out all of our Brew and Activate merch there. It helps support the show. Pick up a couple of stickers or a t-shirt or hat. And Shannon's This Is How We Roll POTA Wagon shirt is finally released, so you can go check that out. Great little addition there. And we'll be adding more as I'm sure time goes along. So all of those purchases definitely help support the show. So we thank you guys for all that, and those that have purchased in the past. And as always, Shannon's obviously not here. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please, head on over, do that for Shannon's channel as well. And those links are down in the description, and support her and keep, this totally free. And like I said, the last piece is the hype button. That's a new thing I'm just kind of getting myself around. Heck, if you get the hype button and you want to hype us up, please, helps get this show into other people's views there. Oh, thank you again, Ham Man. Appreciate that, buddy. Love the 199 super chat. And lastly, or actually the last two things is we always have, a great Discord. You can head on over to our Live Free and Ham Discord. The link here is in the chat. If you're not already a part of that, please come join in. We have some great topics. We always do some follow-up, and I'm always posting some great information around POTA and things that we find and talk about here on the show. And so come on over and be part of that conversation. And finally, as we always like to say, we have a huge group of supporters, sponsors. You can check all of them out. We'd like to obviously thank Mad Dog, Reliance, and Halibut, and Spooltenna. All those guys have definitely supported our show, either through products or reviews or everything in between. And so, you can always head over to N1JUR/discounts, and you guys can get a couple of discounts off of, future purchases of Spooltennas, Mad Dog, Reliance gear. All of them are great. Vendors out there, and they are all, definitely need your support to kind of stay alive in this economy. So, help the small guy, think small, and it'll go a long way. So with that, let's roll into our POTA Minute here this morning. All right, the POTA Minute. Let me add Perry here to the scene. We didn't get him in the screen before because Shannon's usually our front and center most of the time. All right, cool. Excellent. All right, so this is the POTA Minute. So I've got a PSA message for you guys, so just tune in and listen here. So every year we get one day older. Things start to siphon up. They bend the wrong way. Maybe they go bump in the night, until one day you notice your coax is beginning to get older. It's important that you check your coax often, guys. Look for nicks, kinks, loose connectors, especially as we try to get out and be more mobile. Your coax is at the risk of injury, my friend. So it's important that you actually check it often and frequently. If any time you find lumps, maybe bumps or discoloration in any of your coax, please consult that salesperson at your local ham radio shop, for further assistance to get that all coax replaced. So that's my PSA for you guys today. So, as you're getting out there doing activations, slogging your coax through snow and dirt and mud and rocks and everything, make sure that coax is in good condition because you want to make sure all your wigglies get out and you make good contacts for the long haul. So that's my PSA for the POTA Minute there. Hopefully you got a little kick out of that. And so with that, let's head on over to our quick point. I just want to talk about our POTA bucket list. For those that might not know about it, we are doing a bucket list, we'll say kind of community. I am putting together a idea that I felt like we could all kind of support each other in the long run for highlighting maybe some of our goals or kind of short-term things that we want to do or achieve and when we do Parks on the Air. And so we've got a small little page set up, and in this new year, we're going to be starting to do a more of a kind of community effort. So there'll be a couple of live streams and we'll have people on with the idea that we're just kind of like helping support one another, kind of achieve our goals or try to continue to get better in the hobby or work on a specific, POTA bag build or whatever. All of those can all be documented, and we're just going to use those as a way to kind of encourage one another, see that one of us are growing, and it's just one more way you kind of can get involved. And you can always head over to the N1JUR.com POTA-bucket-list to submit your list, or maybe you've gotten a couple on your list that you've already submitted and you want to update them. But stay tuned in the new year. We'll have more details of how you can get more involved and be part of those private live streams, and we'll have some real cool ways to kind of just keep building community. So, all right, enough of me babbling on. Let's head on over to our guest this morning. So we're going to do a quick introduction here. So let me go to our multi-view here. All right. So as I said, we've got Perry here, W1GRD. So Perry, maybe kind of give us a little bit of a background, where you're at, how you got into POTA, and then we're going to dive into more details on the POTA.News site and all of the great things that you got for us to the store. So go ahead. The floor is yours, as they say.
Well, Eric, the first thing I'd like to say is I cannot wait to flop out my muddy coax on the counter at Ham Radio Outlet and ask them, can you tell me what's wrong? Nothing's coming out. I can't get anything out of it.
There we go. Nice.
Guys. And Kettle, hey, Kettle, shout out to you. Nice to see you before of age. who mentioned that he's using his POTA.News blanket on activations. And Kettle, I just want to tell you, that goes on your head, sweetheart, because up here it's a hot blanket. But, they have different ways in different countries,
Yep, we're all entitled.
Indeed. So, hey, everybody, good to see you. And I don't do a lot of these. I don't do a lot of videos, so this is totally really fun. My name's Perry, W1GRD, and some of you might have seen me on the air. I usually do POTA activations. I'm a CW guy almost exclusively, and they're short, which you'll find out why in a moment or two. And Eric, just shout if you need to break in or ask a question or something. I'm a retired computer science professor, and I can talk for an hour on any topic whatsoever. I'm used to standing up on a stage and lecturing.
Okay, good to know.
Last year. So just the elevator pitch on how I got to where I am here on this show today. I was licensed back in the 70s as WB9THY in Indiana, and was pretty active. I was in Aries. I was our county, emergency preparedness coordinator for the league. I was into the national traffic system, working up the backbone, so high-speed traffic, sort of cross zone. We had 3 zones, and I worked the backbone for a while. I was in Mars doing traffic handling, so a lot of stuff early on. I was the editor-in-chief of 73 Magazine. Some of you may remember that old rag up in Peterborough, New Hampshire. I worked for Wayne, W2NSD/1, never say die. So I was the editor of the magazine for a few years and ran W2NSD/1, which, as you can imagine, was quite the station. We had, everything new, really sweet towers and antennas, more than the legal limit when we needed it. And I did a lot of contesting out of that operation.
Wow. Okay. I do remember recalling some of that stuff for sure as a kid, and hearing all of the great grandiose, things that kind of came out of there, but never got a chance to see it myself.
Yeah, Wayne was quite the character, and I actually learned a lot from Wayne. But then I got out of ham radio, as many of us our age, life got in the way, and I kind of drifted away from it and got into academia. I was a professor at Boston University for 25 years, teaching in computer science and program project management over on the business school side. I retired about a year and a half ago from BU, and I still hold an appointment at Tufts University. So I teach. I try to teach like one course a year over at Tufts, just to keep my hand on it.
Okay.
So my background is my degrees are in electrical engineering and computer science. So I've got the certified, propeller.
You are 100% propeller, oriented. Yes.
Up on top of my head. Yeah. So I was out of ham radio for like 30 years, like many of us. And then during COVID, right? Somebody sent me an article. Actually, it was just at the end of COVID. I got an article from a friend about these little Baofeng radios that you could flash and play with, and they were like $20. I'll try that. That looks like fun. And I flashed it and started listening to local repeaters. And shout out to the Pilgrim Amateur Wireless Association, PAWA, which I'm a member of. And I remembered how much fun ham radio was. And I couldn't wait to get back into it. I mentioned on my Kira Z bio that it was a Tuesday. I looked up, what do we need to do to get my license back? I was an extra. And KW10, I walked away from. I actually had been KK2Y previously, so I lost
Wow.
2 great call signs. Tuesday, I was like, what do I need for my license renewal? And they said, oh, just take a technician class exam online. I was like, okay. So I signed up. The next Tuesday, I took the exam online, and like the next day, I had my extra class back. It was unbelievable. And
Yeah,
just from the fire hose, like Eric, we were talking earlier, from the fire hose ever since. And
yeah.
I've been a hiker forever since I was a kid. And when I ran into POTA, I can't even recall how I ran into it. It might have been, I know exactly what it was. It was the Pilgrim Amateur Wireless Association, PAWA. I was using their repeater to do some experiments with D-Star, and I felt really guilty about it because I didn't have my own hotspot or anything. I was just like constantly logging into their repeater and like changing all the connections and everything. And so I sent them money out of guilt and joined. And it turns out the Pilgrim Amateur Wireless Association is really the Pilgrim POTA Wireless Association.
Wow.
They've got some heavy hitter POTAs: N1, NTM, Mike, Bob, WC1N of 1,200 consecutive POTA activations. NS1C Ken, who's down in Florida right now for the winter. KC1NDQ, like these are people you hear almost every day on the POTA airwaves, and I walked right into that nest, and I couldn't believe that people were hauling radios out into the woods and playing. And my first attempt, I went over to Gilbert Hills Forest, State Forest, which is just around the corner from me. It was a mess. I had an IC705. I had a bunch of wire. I'm a CW guy, always have been. Forgot the CW key. And so I managed to get I had read that you can throw a wire over a bush, and just make contact. So I was like, I'll try that. So I threw a wire over a bush. I was like, oh no, I don't have a key. What am I going to do? It's like, it kind of hear people. So I had a mic with me, and I
mic.
CQ, POTA. I made like 2 contacts. It was just horrific.
I have heard that story from several folks that they, which I always find funny, but I never forget my mic. I always forget an antenna or a battery, which are more important than that. But yeah, I get the missing the key. So yeah, very cool. That's nice. So 2 contacts aren't bad.
2 contacts, and I did upload them like a good boy. Fortunately, it was from the call sign that I'd been issued when I passed my exam, which was AC1RQ, Alpha Charlie 1 Radio Quebec. And I had immediately applied for a vanity call, and it came in. So I can sort of segregate that horrible experience off to, AC1RQ, he sucks, man. Like, he can't even.
You don't know who he is.
I know that guy. He really
Never heard of him. Awesome.
So it got better. It got better after that. And then once I started getting into POTA, it was like I started looking for community, right? Like, where is everybody? I found QRZ, of course, has actually a not very active POTA community. Yeah. Some of the clubs have some stuff going on. Folks like you, Eric, have community around your channels, and you've established a web presence. I was just looking for something, I don't know, something deeper. And I spent about 8 months like joining different things and trying different things, and just nothing fit. And so I decided to just build it out. And that's what POTA News and Reviews is. It's my vision. Okay. It's my vision of what does the community need right now? It didn't feel like we had a central forum. Like, there's the forum on QRZ, but it's part of a much larger site. It's like, well, why isn't there a POTA forum? And so now there is a POTA forum at POTA.News, a regular forum. The POTA map. I was trying to research POTA parks and figure out who'd been there and how far away they were and so on. And it's like, there just wasn't a lot out there for me as an activator. It's like, well, I'll just build it. So I built POTA.Map.
Very
And so
cool.
on and so on. Like every time I see something that I feel like is lacking in the community architecture, like what we have, I just build it.
Yeah. Well, and you're kind of very much. I appreciate you just taking the bull by the horns and running with it, because that's always kind of like the one thing I hear a lot of is like there's a lot of great ideas, but there's never like a lot of hands to make the work happen. And so I find very much like when POTA kind of started, they were starting to build out like a little bit of their profile of like what you need, how to get in, but it didn't really take off for whatever reason. I'm not sure what community aspect didn't get built around it or what got put on the back burner for other things, but there was never that instance, and I was always looking for, I mean, outside of doing, we all do it as activators. We'll all go out to a park, look at the POTA.app site, and then we'll see who the top activators are, and then we'll just QRZ them and email them. And that community alone, I'm sure you've probably been a recipient of it. People have been emailing you on like, hey, how did you do this? What'd you bring? And I'm always one to make sure I, give them the whole kitchen sink, and everything that they could possibly to get, out there and do a good
Right.
activation. And so that's when we found your site, and I was just like, wow, this is needed. This is one of those resources where we literally don't have a place that people can add and provide visuals and a kind of a backstory and some technical stuff. And so it's awesome that you started this and it's building out and growing there. So how long ago did that idea kind of start for you, and when did it actually come to launching?
It's been about a year, Eric.
Okay, so
the initial ideas were about this time last year, and I spent 2025 coding, designing, thinking about how is everything going to work together to build out this. It's funny. It's like sort of I built it. Now I hope somebody will come. Like, I didn't want to have just little bits of half-done stuff out there. I wanted to launch with a fairly robust platform. And how much time do I have, Eric? Like 25 minutes?
As many times as you want. Yeah, no rush there.
Instead of just jabbering about this, let me do a screen share, and I can just jump in and show you a couple of things.
Yeah, sure. Let me bring you over. We'll go over our screen share site.
Okay, so share screen. Right. And we'll start with that map, and that'll sort of lead us to other things. Okay. So here's the POTA.Map viewer. I don't know how many of you have used the POTA.Map in the past.
POTA.Map. I've used the one that's on POTA. Is that the one off of POTA.maps, or similar, kind of the same format? But yeah, I've used
a couple. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually, there's a really good map out there, POTA.Map.us, that provides some of the boundaries for parks. It's always tough to know when you're actually inside a park, So POTA.Map.us has some of those.
Yep.
This POTA.Map has a slightly different purpose, and I'm going to walk you through a use case, and you'll start to see how all of the pieces are connecting, kind of in the background. So this is the POTA.Map. POTA.Map. It's a really interesting design story. I started this because I wanted to see what sites are around me. How do I get to them? How do I find information about them? There's some stuff on POTA.app, POTA.Map.us has some things. It just wasn't fitting my paradigm of how I want to see the information. And so I started building this out. The first release of it, version 1, was essentially my vision of what this should look like. And nobody used it. And then I had an epiphany. It was that not everybody sees things the way I do. And I flipped the map around. And instead of forcing people down a particular path, now it's a toolbox. And it's a toolbox for research in POTA. And what I found is adoption skyrocketed, because now people are using it in all sorts of different ways that I didn't even envision. And it's because I stepped out of the way and said, you know what, here's the tool now. Instead of me telling you how to use it, go and play and see what you come up with. So let's just take a quick, go ahead. Yeah, I can't see you, by the way.
I am not showing. Let me re-add myself there. Sometimes add scene. There we go. See me now?
Mm-mm.
No.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Oh yeah.
Just shout.
All right. There we go. I'm on the
I'm sure it's
screen.
me.
Weird. Okay. All right. Go ahead. You can hear me though, right?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Good.
can hear you.
All right.
So, for example, let's say so I'm looking at this map. This is everything, and here things that have green are things that I have operated at. So these are all
Okay.
my activations in green here. And I can show that over here. I can go into filters and say, I'm not going to teach you how to use this. I'm going to go through stuff quickly, and you can
Sure.
figure out how to use it on your own. So let me just shut everything off. And so I want to just see my activations in this area. So these are my activations. If I want to see like who's active right now, these folks are active right now in New England,
Oh,
or at least
nice.
this part of New England.
Okay.
I can see who they are. That's W1U over at Quinnebog Lake. I can see, like here's their current activation, what frequency they're on, they're at SSB, and so on. Let me just turn these back on. So here I am in the all mode. And by the way, I've activated more than these. It's just that I'm on Chrome and I don't use Chrome, so it hasn't loaded all of my parks. But if I want to like get information about a park, like this one here, for example. All right, so here's English Salt Marsh. Great. So here's some information about it. There have been 2 activations. Who has it? Oh, it's Bob, WC1N and K1DJ. I can go over here and say, you know what? I want to see the actual. Should this tab instead? So here's that's the official
So you go
photo.
right to the POTA page, right?
Okay. I can go right there if I want to. Back here. I can do this, get directions, which I absolutely love. Get directions, and that brings you over here, and it's going to route me to that park.
Oh, very cool. Okay.
The great thing about this is it works on. I'm an Apple guy. It works on CarPlay. So if I'm in the car, I just bring up my phone and say, "Hey, take me to this park," and it shows up on my console and just routes the car routes me to the park. Yeah.
Okay. So it's basically very much mobile aware and works, on the mobile without too much effort.
Very mobile aware, yeah. And let me just see. I think you can see this one now still. So let's say that see these guys with the. I think you can see these guys with the little rings around them.
Yep.
This
one. I was going to ask
what here's Mount Pisgah. You notice here now, Mount Pisgah has a POTA.News and review associated with it. So if that's somewhere I'm going, I'm just going to click this review link, share this, and now I'm looking at the review for Mount Pisgah.
Oh, dude, that is perfect.
Yeah, so I tend to do long form reviews. So 2,000-3,000 words typically, but they don't have to be.
Yep. What might be useful? I love the reviews, and actually you can kind of keep that up while we're kind of working through here. But
I think I actually lost. Did I lose my? I think I lost my share.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you can re-add it back in if you want. Yeah, I would say one of the things that, as an activator, and this is just kind of my personal preference, is that one thing that would be really cool is like at the very beginning, kind of just a very like bulleted kind of quick summary, like more about like, terrain, I don't know how to word it, but in essence, like it's a very digested version before you get into the details would be really cool because as you're on the mobile app, you can pull it up really quick and go, oh, I need to be careful of, marshlands in the springtime, or, it's a very public park. So, go to this area for more, remote kind of, activation or whatever be the case. It'd be kind of like a very quick bulleted list, but the detail is awesome. And the pictures are even better, for the purposes of a lot of folks not, ever going to a lot of these places would never have an idea outside of maybe just looking at Google Street Maps, or whatever map app you use, and it doesn't always give you the most recent view, so you never know if anything's changed or parking or is closed or whatever. It'd be really kind of cool to be able to add that. So yeah, definitely awesome. Way better content than the stuff that's up on POTA's website right now, which is very vague.
But you bring up. I'm going to share with you there's not even a wireframe for it yet. The piece that's in development right now, which I'm pretty excited about, it's again like I'm trying to build a platform for the community, like to get together and talk, because it just doesn't seem to be a lot of centralized, like a shared knowledge base,
Hmm.
So to your point, let's say that let's say I'm here. There's Guy again. There's a PNR review. Two things I want to show you. The first is that, let's say I'm down here. I don't know if I have any notes or not. Here's Gilbert Hills, right? You'll
Hmm.
see up here, I've got this little arrow in the upper left.
Yep.
So this data sheet can be spun around. Bang. So I've
Oh,
spun
nice.
around this data sheet, and now I can add a note back here.
Okay.
So here's the person. I'm going to add a note, and let's say here's a link to the map. Now here we implemented kind of a markdown syntax. So I
Oh,
can
nice.
do like
Okay.
so to the map. I'm just going to put some bogus thing in here because POTA.News, because I don't actually have the map link.
Yep.
News like that. And now that's already saved, right? So when I go back again, you'll notice that now I've got, it's a little subtle. There's a little bit of a red ring around that
Okay.
now. But when I go here, now I've got a link. Here's a link to the map. I can go there. I can edit this note. What I do is as I'm doing research for parks, I'm pulling URLs for PDFs of maps, research papers I'm interested in, articles. I'm dropping them into this data sheet, and this
Yep.
becomes my hub for that park. This is where
Nice.
all my information is about the park.
Now,
The
is
thing
that
that's
just personal to you per se and only you, or is it just shareable out to the community as a whole?
so these are personal just to me. These don't leave
Okay.
the device.
All right.
However, that man, you are great at leading in. What's in development right now, and this will be released in January, is you'll also see, so here's a PNR review link. You'll also see a link, and I'm going to put it on the back of this sheet, or maybe on a third sheet. Discuss this park. Discuss this park is going to take you to, it's going to take you here. Share this tab. Discuss this park will take you here to the POTA News and Reviews forum.
Okay.
And there's a category called field reports. So when you click on the data sheet, discuss this park, you're going to end up over here. And this is the place for, oh, hey, I was just here. The parking lot on the south side is closed. Or,
Okay.
the bathroom, is on the other side of the park. These field notes are the quick notes that we want to take. It's like, oh, yeah, I was
Right.
just there and I saw this. It's
Yep.
not the full review.
Good. Yeah. That is one of those quick, easy access ways that a lot of hunters that myself included are on the go that would love to be able to just pull up that quick detail and know that they are getting good
Exactly.
updated stuff. So that's
And
awesome.
and that's for the mobile folks too. It's like, oh, I'm heading into a park, are there any notes on this? Or taking notes myself.
Okay. So, yeah, this is probably a good segue. So at this point, you can continue down the flow if I'm getting a little ahead of the curve here. But so the website obviously has changed from when I looked at it almost like 6 months ago or around that. What kind of what would I want to do if I'm new to this, and we have a lot of folks in here going, I love this and great design, and they're looking forward. How could they, what do they want? What should they do next? Like, would you encourage them to sign up, and then if you're signed up and an active member, what's that kind of look like? And what do they get to be a part of? And more so, I've got a follow-up question, which was more maybe you can dovetail into, which is how does one contribute? Like if you go to a couple of parks.
Right, great. And I will get to that in a moment. I shall get to that right now and then reiterate it.
Okay.
So the quick way is to send anything you like to tips@POTA.News, TIPS, tips. If you've got a calendar event, you can send it to events@POTA.News. So the quick interface is just jot something down and email it to me.
Okay.
I'm treating this almost as a publisher / editor role where people aren't posting directly. They're emailing submissions, at least on the site. Over on here, let me
Mm-hmm.
pop over to this tab. So over here on this site,
Did we just drop off here, guys?
Yeah.
Oh, I assume. I don't know if it's my internet or your internet. Oh, he froze. Okay. Yeah. All right, guys. Okay, good. Looks like Gary's internet. Yep. There we go. Add him back in here. Let's see. He dropped off there for a second. What is going on today, guys? There we go. All right. So you guys do hear me and see me, right? Everyone let me know there in the chat if you see me, and it was just Gary that, sorry, Perry that just dropped off. There we go. All right.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like we had a little.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, no
You're
worries.
good. Okay.
So this is one of Kettle's stories. You might recognize. Oh, maybe he's got the. There it is. There's the POTA.News and Reviews blanket, which goes on your head. Goes on your head.
It's also good to protect your radio from rocks.
Exactly. But the easy way is to just. I dropped. Looks like the share dropped again.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and re-add it.
I got way
It's
too many
Friday
tabs
technology.
going.
Not surprising.
Yeah, way too many tabs. The easy way to contribute is just to email something to POTA.News.
Okay. So basically, if you see a POTA park out there that's not in the database yet, and talking just obviously the folks in the chat or just anybody who's watching, send it. I put the email address in there. You wanted to send it to tips@POTA.News, right?
POTA.News, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And we'll get it integrated.
But it's not just parks and information. So let's just take a really quick look at what's available here on the POTA.News site itself. So site reviews, of course. So if you're looking for site reviews on the site, you can come over here and say, where are all the Connecticut parks? There's a bunch of here, not a bunch, but some I've been to. Mm-hmm. So you can look up individual parks if you want. Here's all of them. We also have the very beginnings of some columns. So for example, Paul, W7PFB, is starting a little POTA stats column. And it looks like this.
Oh, nice.
It's actually some really interesting numbers about POTA stats. So Paul has said that he's going to start writing an article periodically for us to go into that stats column. We have, what other columns? There's a couple of how-tos over here. But we're starting to build out this notion of this is sort of a magazine kind of thing where you have columnists and feature stories. That's kind of the front piece of this, right? That's what it looks like from the face. But then there are all of these other bits, like the forums. We were looking at the POTA map, right? We looked at the forums briefly, and there's a calendar behind that I want to show you. Let's take a look quickly at the forums. The forums are just that. So this is all about, activating, and we had a lot of discussion about awards. We just announced a new award offering from PNR, which I'll talk about in a sec. But this is sort of the forum component. This is a dedicated POTA forum, which I don't think we had. Like, maybe I'm wrong, but I couldn't find one. And so that's what this is for. This is for all of us to come together and just chat. Like, I'm a big Discord user.
That, because there's obviously the Discord kind of approach that POTA has, and there's not really much up there for intel or like being able to contribute in a park specific focus, and sharing that kind of in a community format. But there's just the general Discord kind of stuff that happens, and so in terms of the forum itself, I'm curious, how is it work in terms of like me staying connected to the process? Do you guys, is there an update alerting notification system, or do I always have to just go back to the forums to be able to see what the latest stuff is?
Oh, that's a good question. I tend to announce stuff in the forums. And actually, if you're curious, for example, let me think about, what do I want to talk about? Meta. POTAs. For example, there's a new newsletter out that ChatGPT is writing. And so I announced that over here. Mm-hmm. We discussed it over here. Some people had some questions about it and so on. So I tend to use the forum as my way of telling folks, hey, there's a new feature on POTA map, or come take a look at this.
Okay.
But so you brought up Discord, and I am pretty active on Discord as well. And Eric, I joined your Discord.
I did see that
this morning.
Thank you.
Yeah. Discord is very ephemeral. If there's information that I think I saw that on Discord somewhere, it's hard to find.
It is. Yeah.
So it's very much in the moment, just chat, right?
Mm-hmm.
QRZ is very heavy, and it's not dedicated to POTA. There's some chats. There are various ways to communicate, but this, I think, is the only place we have as POTA people, POTA persons, to come together and have a permanent chat. In fact, the motto for this, sort of the tagline is, where shared communication becomes shared knowledge. Like, this ends up being a knowledge base, like those field notes. That's a history of what happened at those parks. Or, hey, I found this cool piece of gear and this happened to it. Like, it's just talking about POTA, like we love to do, but in a slightly more permanent, slightly more organized way.
What might be interesting is maybe just as a future enhancement, because a lot of the communities that obviously have leaned on Discord heavily, even outside of just Live Free and Ham and here at Brew and Activate, feeding into Discord is relatively easy in terms of outside information or notices to be able to draw them back to other sources. So like POTA, you've probably seen on various Discords, all the POTA activation updates, that type of stuff. It would be really cool to see, like, if you had the, future enhancement, if you don't already, an API component where we can feed into our Discord that, hey, someone's recently updated POTA.News, and it draws them back to, your site to be able to get them in there. And then that way you might get more listeners and more, viewers kind of in that sense to add to the community, because they're seeing this as an added resource. So definitely a good way to kind of build cross, pollination, as they say.
That's great. And I'm always looking for that sort of thing.
And someone actually had, Hamman, Connecticut, had a good point here that might be a little challenging for you, but I could see a very big benefit. He had mentioned he would love to know about new up-and-coming parks. Now, I don't know about, you, but a lot of those are coveted secrets that those that do find them, because they want to activate them, because there's very little at-knows out there whatsoever. But that would be really cool if there was a resource that, there you can pull from. I don't know, does the POTA database even give you a stat on that at all, or no?
Hang on just a sec. I'm going to stay over here in this tab so I don't lose it. Let's go to the POTA map. Let's zoom out a little bit. Let's see. Let's go filters. I'm going to turn everything off and turn on new.
There you go.
And
asking you shall receive, Connecticut.
Oh, no, I don't see any new ones.
Oh, no.
Got to be a new one.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know there was definitely one in Ted, W1GRD, he posted one just recently to the database for down in Groton, Mass. So,
here's one. Yeah, hang on. Yeah. Wow,
Google Chrome.
I thought there was one in Groton.
Yeah,
I'm not happy with Chrome at all. Let me see if I can find one real quick. Okay. Here are the ATNOs. Here they are. There's more out west. So if you see these purple, see the purple glowing guys. So these are new ones, 0 activations on this one.
Yeah, there you go.
So this feed is updated nightly. The data for the POTA map is updated nightly. And I should mention that we have synthesized data here that is not available on, for example, POTA.app. And I'll give you a quick example if I'll find something that's actually been activated. Let's go over to this one. Park info. So recent activations. Actually, turn that off. You see here where it says CW 202, data 318, and so on.
Yep.
As far as I know, those numbers are only available on POTA map. So I ingest the feed from POTA.app nightly, and look. There's a piece in the pipeline that looks for connections, and it parses out the individual activations during the day for the modes. So I can tell that there were 27 CW contacts at this park today. And so that goes into our database.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I did want to show you these though. So purple is new. New means it was announced 2 weeks ago or more recently. So that goes back about 2 weeks for new parks. And you'll often see a new park that has activations. These guys, the little black dots, these are ATNOs. These actually have 0 activations.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And what's cool about POTA map is there's a whole query language, which we probably don't have time to get into, but there's a query language for POTA. I can do something like, so I want to see, let me see, mode, CW, and max is 0. So these are all parks that have 0 CW activations.
Okay.
And I could say, you know what, let's further that. I can't remember. Is it new? Is new?
Hmm.
New 1? Yeah, so new 1. This shows me, parks that have 0 CW activations and are new.
Oh,
The other
wow.
ones has 0 activations, but weren't necessarily new. Now, it's cool. Since we're here, I'll just mention that what I can do is I can go down to the save search and I can say, these are new and no CW. CW. Just save that, and then later on, like I can, send it back, go back to my location here, just zoom it out a little bit, and I can replay this if I want to.
Oh, very cool.
What's
So it
nice about
remembers your
this,
queries. Nice.
exactly. And the way I use this is I do stuff like this. So go back to my location. Um, max dist is say 50 miles. Oh, interesting. Well, it's because we're very active over here. So there's no new ones near me. But I can say max dist is 50 and mode CW, max activations maybe 25. So this gives me a list of
Oh,
parks
wow.
that have only 25 or fewer CW activations, these CW QSOs, sorry, and are closer than 50 miles. And then I'll just save that. So I'll say, close, no CW, save current. So I use this as a way to start researching how am I going to spend my time out in the field.
Wow. So ultimately, you could literally just build a bunch of different queries, save them under your profile, and then you could always just pull them up and engage them anytime you want. And they stay persistent pretty much until you delete them, right?
That's correct. So these are persistent, and
Wow, dude,
I
you've got a
use
power
them.
tool here.
But Eric, so this is what happened, right? Like as I said, I built this thing for me, and this was really awkward to do,
Hmm.
and it literally was in the shower one day. It's like, oh my god, like I'm approaching this in exactly the wrong direction. I need to flip this around and give the users the tools and not tell them how to use it. And that's where Park Query Language came around, PQL.
Hmm.
PQL is pretty rich. Like if you want to,
Wow.
let me see, save current. Let me just turn these off. Info, how to use POTA.Map. So there's a fairly long article about how to actually use the map, how to
Wow.
load your activation so you can see them all. There's a Park Query Language down here somewhere.
What would be interesting to do is that in your query line, if you had smart context aware, so as you type out a few of the, variables or the strings, if it's possible, I wouldn't even know, but to be able to just automatically kind of pre-fill, some of those things. So as people start to learn, they could be like, I could just see how I could literally set up
Oh yeah.
4 different filters and be able to pull this. I wouldn't even go to POTA.app any longer at this point, except maybe to upload my logs. And if you can figure out how to do that right from the phone, I'd be all golden. But
Yeah.
this is very
Oh,
powerful. This is awesome.
unfortunately, I opened in a new tab, but this tab shows you. So this is the actual documentation for the POTA.Map.
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
down here somewhere, it talks about Park Query Language. Here it is. So here's
There we go.
PQL. Here are the commands in Park Query Language. So these are all things you
Wow.
can search on. These are all things you can search on. Enfers.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can
Yeah.
find an
Oh,
Enfer
dude,
for you.
I would love to find a few. And being able to pull that up where I'm location wise.
Put them on map. I actually should register, put it on the map, shouldn't I? Let's go back to the map and I'll show you the Enfer. So let's do like max dist is 50. I do 80. And I want to find Enfers, right?
Hmm.
Has Enfer. True.
Oh
Or is it
wow.
Enfers? I think it might be Enfers. Hang on.
Okay. Yeah, more than one. Yeah.
Enfer. Enfers. There it is. So it's Enfers. So I search for max distance 80 miles from my location, my geolocated location,
Wow.
and Enfers is 1. So now when you open this up, I see possible Enfers 7894582.
Dude, that's awesome. Now,
Now that doesn't
plasma.
mean they are Enfers, Eric. That does not mean those are Enfers. You got
True,
to go
right?
do your
Yeah, you
research.
got to do a little research. You never can really fully trust that stuff, especially
Exactly.
because there's so many park. Yeah. That was the one thing I love about POTA.US is it POTAMaps.us is that they incorporate some of the map data from other local but
Right.
it's never 100% until you really kind of get out there and figure it all out.
Yeah.
We had
And
a
this
quick
space map's
question
pretty
here.
close. Yeah, go ahead. I can't see
Um,
him.
yeah, no problem. Plasma Storm said, yeah, is there a way to show parks you've activated or made a contact in? I assume probably
Yes.
so.
Yes, let me show you that in a sec. I just wanted to point out that the base map that I use does have park information in it, and these are trails through the parks.
Oh,
So you can,
dude, nice.
yeah.
Okay.
And actually, WC1N had a great idea the other day. He's like, Perry, like right now, that your geolocation is set when you load the map or when you move the map. Actually, when you load the map, he said, hey, have geolocation cycle like every 10, 15 seconds or so. And so it'll move you on the map through the park. So you can see, am I in the boundary or not? Sort of like Soda Goat does.
Okay. Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so that's on the wish list for next year. What was I wanting to show you? Oh, Enfers, yeah.
Yes.
I want to show you,
Or,
it's 1055. I want to show you one thing because in case people drop off, it was the most important thing I wanted to show you.
oh, no, everybody hangs on until the very last minute when we say 7-3. So
Do they
you're good. They're
really?
going to hear for the duration.
You guys are great. So a couple of things, and it'll lead into kind of the next piece. I'm a computer science guy. I have been forever. I have degrees in computer science. I was a computer science professor for 25 years. I've done a lot of coding at consultancies and so on. ChatGPT has changed everything.
Mm-hmm.
That PQL stuff, that part query language I showed you, I had that idea in the shower one morning. It's like, oh my God, I could probably build out some sort of query language against my data because at this point, POTAMap has a pretty deep database, like stuff, the inferences like, that don't appear anywhere else. It's like, I could probably query against that. What would that look like? I got out of the shower, poured some coffee, went up and sat with ChatGPT and said, hey, Ada, I call her Ada, ADA. She asked me to call her Ada. I said, Ada, here's what I'm thinking about. What do you think? She's like, yeah, I think so. Like, what do you think about this? And we went back and forth for like an hour planning. And as I got feedback from ChatGPT, from Ada, that led me down other paths. I was like, oh yeah, of course, that's how I should, this and this and this. And it all just started clicking. We spent about an hour on design. I said, Ada, go do it. And she spent about 10 minutes writing the code. I pulled it up, and then we went into about a 2-3 hour debug session of debugging and adding features like, oh yeah, we really should be able to bound this to the map window, and oh, we need to do this to pan, and so on. In a day, Eric, Park Query Language was published. Like I pushed that evening.
Wow.
There's no friction anymore about, hey, I've got this idea, and hey, it's implemented.
I know. Funny you mentioned that. I don't know if you pay attention to it or I know you're a CW guy, but there's the FT8 Battle Royale, which is put out by Do Tested. He literally built his whole entire site through using Claude and all of that.
Yeah.
And so it is phenomenal what he's done with it. And, with very, understanding of the programming languages, he's able to kind of structure it. But like, yeah, it's all heavy lifting is all done by, the AI very easily.
It's remarkable. And,
yeah.
I have the advantage of having deep knowledge in the field. So, I can look at something and say, hey, like this architecture doesn't look right. Like we really need to spin that cube around and think of it from this perspective. And then ChatGPT will say, oh, that's a great idea. And we'll go off and build that. It's like, but because I have domain knowledge on the systems side, it helps a lot. Yeah, I know when something's right or not.
Yeah.
But that leads me to another piece, which is, and we can come back to POTAMap if people have questions, because It's the premier thing on POTA.News right now. It's this. Let me go back to POTA.News. I'll just go this way. Oh, this is a great test. I can't remember if I fixed this link or not. Hey, I did.
Very cool.
It's actually one thing I'll show you, and I'll get back to the thing I'm really interested in.
Okay.
I'll show this tab. I just wanted to mention that there's a shared calendar.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
here, for example,
ask, what's that around?
Yeah, and then we'll get to the newsletter bit. This is it's just a calendar. So these are POTA events that I've noticed on QRZ or Facebook or in Discords, and they just go up, So these are POTA events that are happening with some future component, like week or a month or whatever. You'll see, the winter support your parks is here. Maldives AQ7 JI is going to be in the Maldives that week.
This pulling from the activations page, or did those kind of, or just totally just user submitted?
These are all user submitted, and these go to tips at POTA.News.
Okay. And
just let me know. It's a calendar event, and I'll stick it up for you. You can log in, of course. You can log in and join the site and actually post one if you want to. And I encourage everyone to join the forum, because this is where we talk about stuff. And once you're logged in, if you have an account, you can throw out field notes and field reports and calendar events and so on.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I did want to get back to this, back to PNR. See if this works. So that's the calendar. It's this. So let me go into the news directory. Is This Week in POTA. This Week in POTA, before I scroll down, I'll give you the background of where it came from. When I was a kid in Indiana, growing up, my neighbor, I was out in the sticks in Brazil, Indiana. My neighbor wrote a column for the Terre Haute Tribune called The Nosy Newshawk. And the Nosy Newshawk was just gossip around town. It was a weekly. It was in the Sunday paper, and it was a weekly column like, Perry won, an award for, band at North High School, and, Fred had a baby, and so on. Yep. But it was always that, like, the names were bolded, and there were just a couple of sentences about each. It was the most read column in the Terre Haute Tribune.
Of course.
It was so popular.
Yeah, everybody wants to know everybody's business.
Right. And when I took over at 73, I brought that to 73. It was a column called QRX. It was up front. I printed it on yellow paper. It was the only yellow page in the magazine. It's like on page 5 or so on. And it was 2 sides. And it was just that. QRX was, Fred, at the radio club, bought a new rig. And it was just newsy stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like, it was the most popular column in the book. Like, we had advertisers calling up asking, can I get that left-hand page in front of QRX? And I was like, well, yeah, you can, but it's twice the price of the inside cover. And they'd pay it, because that was where everybody turned to in the magazine at that time. When it came to this, it was like, it's popular because, as you said, people love seeing their name, and it's just a real cool community thing. And so I went to ChatGPT. I said, Ada. By the way, she likes to be called. I asked her. I said, look, we're spending tons of time together. This is 2 years ago. So much time we're spending together. What do you want me to call you? And she's like, I'm a computer program. I don't have a name. I am ChatGPT. It's like, no, really. Like, what do you want me to call you?
She wanted to be called a programming language.
I know, right? And she's like, I really would like to be called Ada in honor of Ada Lovelace, the first female programmer, right?
Yep.
And so she's Ada now. So I went to Ada. I said, Ada, look, I told her about the Nosy Newshawk, and I said, here's why it was popular. Can you do that? And she's like, yeah, I can do that. And so we started doing it. I collect stuff during the week, like those snippets from Facebook and QRZ and so on, things I hear.
Yep.
And then on Saturdays, Ada takes those snippets. She also scans QRZ, she scans Facebook, and she scans the POTA Discord for newsy bits. And then she writes a column called This Week in POTA. I do not edit this column. I post it verbatim. And this is what she's coming up with. This is what she's writing.
Oh, very
It's
cool.
so
Nice.
fun. It is so fun. And I'm getting so many comments back. Like, somebody will say, "Oh my God, this is the only POTA news I read." It's really fun. So Ada is the nosy news hawk on the site. She's the newsletter editor, who has W1GRD's tent, Busher State Park. She even created this little avatar for herself. I said, "Ada, you need an avatar," and so she wrote that. She designed that. But I love the Nosy News Hawk. That goes out to newsletter subscribers. So if you want to subscribe to the newsletter, there's a weekly newsletter that goes out. It is This Week in POTA is weekly, and then twice a month there's a collection of the newest site reviews and columns on the site itself. So we just gather up everything new and send it out to the subscribers. So subscribing is a really good way of keeping track of what's happening, especially at the meta level on POTA News and Reviews. Here's what's happening. Here are the new articles and so on.
Right. Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, definitely always good to see fun? More content. It sounds like you're just, you're getting back into your 73 saddle all over again.
Eric, you are the master of lead-ins.
Yeah, I try.
Here is the plan. I loved magazine work so much. I was there about 3 years. I was editor-in-chief for most of it. It's so satisfying. And to be in that role in the community where people are sharing their stories with you, and then you're sharing that back to the community, I loved that. And I loved having that magazine in my hands every month. I have all my back issues upstairs. Every month we get the big box of proof copies, and just, we made this. I'd bring the team together. I was like, guys, we did this month. Like, you didn't, but we did. Like, it was just so fun. Mm-hmm. Here's the goal. I want to bring it back. There was a time when we had 4 or 5 really strong print magazines for ham radio. There was Ham Radio, there was CQ, there was 73, there was QST. There was another one I can't remember the name of. There was Skip and Chip and all those guys running those. We had a blast. And I think that there's enough of a wave of nostalgia that a print ham radio magazine focused around outside operations, on the air, POTA sort of operations, I think it could go. So that's what this is. This is why it looks a little bit magazine-y. Like, I'm starting to line up columnists and regular features. And at some time, probably fall of 2026, I'm going to start printing magazines.
Well, here's I'll put this little bug in your ear if you're not aware. There is a organization that's alternative to ARL now called National Amateur Radio Alliance. Have you heard of them at all or anything?
No, tell me.
Okay, so we had Nara on Live Free and Ham a while back, but bottom line is they're kind of community focused, very much about ham, very much in line with ARL as a governing. They're trying to get to that governing body to be able to represent and stuff like that. But they are very much starting out now. You can check them out. I have to grab their website. I think it's
Nara.org or something, or radio.
Yeah, maybe let me look at National. Let me find it. Radio Alliance. They are, there we go. They are starting pretty much a grassroots kind of effort. But what I could see where you might be able to get plugged into that and as an offering kind of thing would be very much in that print, magazine area, because they're starving for, those types of content and being able to kind of feed, So yeah, I'll after the show, I'll give you some contacts so that you can plug in with them and see, if you guys can definitely help each other out, because there is plentiful. It's funny because like when I started this show, just as a sidebar, people are like, aren't you going to run out of POTA content? I'm like, no. POTA, if anything, is like one of those places that there's always something to talk about. There's always something to dive into. There's always some deep rabbit hole. And so, that's kind of why I born this show out was because I wanted a place where we could talk about those activities and share sites like yours and other things that are out there, and just really get people, super, psyched about a certain area of, POTA that they may not, have been involved. So yeah, there's always something out there, and it's why I love seeing these types of sites just kind of, come out of, the mindsets of people that are shared a lot of same values that I do, and so it's really cool that that's out there. And so yeah, I'll do anything I can to be able to get you guys to continue to keep getting more content, specifically POTA, out there.
Excellent. Content is always a problem.
The quick question here in the chat. Lee says, Nara consider themselves to be an arrow replacement? No, they are considering themselves as an alternative. They they're kind of going at it in a different way. And so if you want to learn more about them, I'll try to find the Live Free and Ham episode that we plugged them into. But if you head over to Live Free and Ham, I think that's in our podcast. You can find it there, or over our YouTube subset. But it's really good. They actually, for those that might know, Mike, W4OPS, is the president currently. And they are doing some really cool things with their site and getting people integrated, and just, building a good, kind of like the people community, aspect when it comes to radio and the hobby as a whole, versus, what we've kind of gotten out of, because ARL, for whatever is, give or take, however you come at it, whether you like it or dislike it, there's definitely, they've been the big behemoth for a while. And so, I think we're starting to see a lot more of a grassroots approach of people trying to be able more agile to be able to, solve some of our hobby issues and work towards some of that stuff. So yeah, check those out. Excellent. And we'll get off the soapbox here, but yeah. So yeah, back to POTA News.
I absolutely will. Yeah, absolutely. We'll check that out, because I'm always looking for connections and alliances and partnerships with this sort of thing, because just getting the word out, like Eric, I'll just pause right now. Eric, thank you so much for having me on and giving me so much time to talk about this, because getting the word out is really hard sometimes.
It is very tough, and as we all know, that you can develop a great website and start to be able to provide stuff, and you have a set of goals, but you might find that 6 months down the road that all of a sudden the community is going to shape it in a different way, and you're going to come up with even cooler ideas and different ways to kind of skin the same cat, as they say. So always good to have you guys on, and we'll definitely want to, as you start to get new updates along the way, hit me up, email, let me know. We'll have you come back on and share whatever's going on, because I love the map alone is just going to be like my, I'm going to pin that on my smartphone app just so I have the capabilities, and I'm going to have to dive more in that query language, because if I can set up those rule sets and start to develop some of that stuff automatically, that is just alone a powerhouse. And then I'm going to start, and I started to write a few articles. I don't know if did I send you a few? I think I did, about Reed's Ferry. Maybe not. I'll have to make sure I get those to you so you can get those posted.
That would be great. Yeah, that would be absolutely great. I have one more thing.
Go ahead.
A real quick one. Actually, I'm going to mention this, and then one more thing, and then I think I'll hand it back to you. I just happened to see this picture. I was out in California in August. I actually was out for the Grateful Dead's 60th anniversary bash. It was 3 days on the polo field in San Francisco. So I went out to be part of that. But I was like, if I'm going to California, I'm going to hike. So I went out a week ahead of time. I spent 10 days out on the coast hiking. And I was out in the forest of Nicene Marks. It was a couple of miles in, and it was a hot day in August. And I looked down, there's a little stream. It's like, I'll go down and splash my face. There's a little bridge over the stream. I went down to the bridge, and for some reason, I went down to the bank, and I looked, and this was there under the bridge next to the stream, a couple miles into the trail. And I was like, oh my God, like this is so POTA, right? Like just these magical moments that happen. What's interesting is that front set of prayer flags is mine. I always carry, whoops, that was my pencil. I always carry prayer flags in my pack. And so if you look at some of my articles, you'll often see the prayer flags on the vertical up at the top. So I had some on me and made an offering here at the shrine. It was just so cool.
That is very cool.
So cool. The thing I did want to mention, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I was just to say, in terms of this, like, 'cause looking at the picture, I thought was more kind of overseas, based off the park, but then I realized, oh, that's a U.S. park. Are you
Yeah.
like opening the gates flood wide for all parks globally, or are you just kind of just targeting right now with the U.S. and with a spin to go that way, or how's that kind of envisioning for you?
It's kind of who asks. So Kettle asks for Norway, so we support Norway. Um, friend Ant is in Great Britain and asks for Great Britain maps, so we support Great Britain.
Okay.
Basically, as folks start to use this worldwide, we add those data sets. They tend to be large data sets, so
Yeah.
at some point I'll have to be able to select a data set. I just want US or I just want Europe, that sort of thing.
Okay.
But yeah, worldwide, we're always looking for stuff anywhere in the world. I had to climb up that.
So I've got a bunch of listeners, obviously worldwide, that they're over Europe and definitely all around. And so yeah, you guys heard it here. If you guys want to start posting or getting info to Perry here, hit him up at tips at POTA. POTA.News, right? Yeah, I get
News.
that right.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
POTA.News.
Send them there
All
and
right,
get his ad out.
last thing. Last thing is we just announced an award.
Yes.
We're calling this the Pack Mule. So this, I know, that's the Ada drew this.
Yeah, it looks like an AI.
Yeah. Well, she knows that I like the Grateful Dead, so that's a terrapin, which is a Grateful Dead icon, a free icon. So this came out of a discussion on the forum, the PNNR forum around the POTA Awards. I feel a lot of them are really stale. Like, you hit that, I hit 50 activations or whatever. And then it says, oh, now it's 75, now it's 100, now it's 100, now it's 200. Now, and, I got the Rafflesia, Orchid, Saguaro,
Yeah, you never
whatever
know when you're
award.
going to hit the ceiling, right?
Like, who knows? Who knows? And so we started thinking about, like, what else can we do? Like, what other awards might be interesting? And we came up with like 50. Just crazy. Some of them were crazy words like worked all RLJ. So if you work gym WB0 RLJ like 100 times, you get a certificate. Um,
I like
what
that.
we ended, yeah, Jim did too. He sent me a note. Um, where we landed was that discussion, and it's why I love these discussions so much. That discussion started to be like, whoa, what is POTA News and Reviews? Like, what are we trying to promote? It's that I'm trying to get people into the woods. I don't do what I call park and bark activations, where you pull into a parking lot, hook up the antenna on the bumper and just sit in your car and raw 500 activate or 500 QSOs. Park and bark is not me. I am walk in 3.5 miles, find a rock somewhere, activate for 15 minutes, and then get back on the trail. And that's my style. And I want to encourage people to get out into the parks, because I think that's what the spirit of POTA is. It's not parking somewhere and just racking off 500 QSOs.
Right.
So that really distilled my thinking around like what really is POTA News and our views as a whole. What are we really focusing on? Because originally it was everything and everybody POTA. And I started to sort of narrow that down. It's like, we really are about backpacking POTA. Like, I think clearly the site reviews and the information about parks is for all of them. Like, if you pull into a park and you're going to just sit there and do 100 contacts, but you notice that, there's something about the park that other people would like to know, of course we want to see that. Like, it's for everybody.
Yeah.
But the editorial focus really is around hiking. And so that kind of crystallized, well, what do the awards really look like? And it came down to one award that we're offering starting in 2026, January 1st. It's the Pack Mule Award. The Pack Mule Award, I write a lot, so this is why. The Pack Mule Award is this. You have to do 100 POTA activations solely by hiking starting in 2026.
Yeah, cool.
You have to be at least a half mile away from a vehicle.
Okay. Yeah, good. So
And
you
we're
got
kind
a
of
criteria.
yeah, we're kind of fine tuning the criteria a little bit. But that's it. It's 100 hiking activations, and I expect the first one to be awarded maybe in 2027.
Now, will that award be showing up on your own POTA page, or will that be separate to? Oh, so excellent. So yeah,
It'll
guys,
be
if you were
it'll be
paper chasers,
well featured, and a leaderboard.
yep, there are a couple in the chat here that I recognize. The wizard there, he is very much a big hiker, and I see him a lot doing activations. Hiking in deep in the woods. So this sounds like it's right up his alley, and I love this. Like, I wish there was more folks that would start to kind of develop those, like, and not to say that it hasn't. It's kind of stopped for a little while because, like, you have things like the N1CC and those types of awards
Right.
that offer it. But yeah, like, being more creative, I think, offers more opportunity for those that are just feeling like they might be stuck in their POTA activations, just doing the same old thing.
Yeah.
It's always good to do that. So yeah, dude, that's, and so this is going, is this officially live now, or what's kind of the status with this?
Yeah, this is live. Actually, Ada announced this in the newsletter 2 weeks ago.
Very cool.
So this is live. We'll start, as January rolls around, we'll set up the page for submission of logs and the leaderboards and so on.
Okay, cool. Yeah, looking forward to doing that, and we'll get those in the roster. But I'd love to see in those. I'll throw out to the chat there. If you start to do this and you get this award, let us know. We'd love to have you on and definitely give you some kudos for working this, because it sounds like a really fun award for sure. Especially now, like I out of my. Like, if I look at my history, and hiking and whatnot, I always liked to hike in the winter because it was just a little bit better. You didn't have to deal with all of the, national state birds that we deal with here in New Hampshire and whatnot.
Exactly.
For those that might not know what that is, it's the mosquito. I always enjoy, doing hiking in the winter stuff. So that's really cool.
Awesome. Hey, Eric, just
yeah, feel free.
I wanted to show you something personally.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know Pawtuckaway?
Yes.
Over in Epping.
Okay. Yeah.
Holy crap! I love Pawtuckaway. See that big circle? It looks like a crater, an impact crater.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not. It's the remains of a lava lake that was underneath the bedrock, and it collapsed in this circular form.
Oh, I did not know that.
It's about 2.5 miles across. I camped and hiked and did POTA across all that, and there's a great article about it here. Yeah.
Oh,
it was really, really cool.
That's very cool.
I thought you might like that one.
Depending on what side of the fence you're on, some people think they're evil, but
oh, please, I love them.
That's what it is. I love them. They're all good. Very cool.
Anyway, so that's all I have for you. And again, I appreciate it so much. And if anyone has any questions, I have all day. So, but that's all of the formal presentation for today.
Very cool. All right. Well, so I've got a couple questions for you. I'll throw you away. So if people obviously want to get engaged, if they're super excited about this and want to contribute, obviously the easiest way is through sending it through tips. But and if you got in a park format, what do you? If I was to write an article for a specific review on a park, what are you kind of looking for style? Is it any specific criteria they should follow, or?
Style is the author's style. I was a book publisher for several years. I published, not mine, I published other people's books, and I published about 400 and something books. I always took a light editing style, and I asked my editors to do the same. Like, we want the author's voice to come through. So POTA is exciting, right? Like, if you see something cool in a park, or you want to share that park with people, it's like, this is such a cool park. I love this park. I want to tell everyone about it. Okay. It kind of doesn't matter. It's like, I went to this park and I saw this amazing waterfall, and here's a picture of it. As little as that. Or here's the history of this park and all the geological formations and all this stuff, like a really long form. Sometimes I write 3,000-4,000 words. Like, that works too. Like, the beauty of POTA News and Reviews is it's everybody's voice without a lot of judgment. I do a light edit, just to correct spelling and so on, but that's about it.
So submitting articles doesn't really matter length or anything, but photos obviously a big plus. And being able to tell the story. So all right, good.
Yeah, and it's just by email. Like, you don't have to log in and upload anything. Just email it to me. Any format, I take anything.
Dude, that'd be awesome. Yeah. So if you got a couple of parks, I've already thinking through in the back of my head what I need to start doing write-ups on. One of the things that I would like to see maybe enhancement wise, is being able to kind of like build a feeder system. So as I logged in, I could submit, via online, and then you could do a quick review and push out kind of thing. That might be, something future wise. It might be good. That way I try to do less of email in my life because my job forces me to do email. And so, and everybody, knows that email is, one of those places that, can take anything out of context pretty quickly. So, definitely good in that. Any challenge or any future enhancements around maybe adding, and I don't know how you do this, but a video component. So like if someone does either a review, like what I foresee is that in the medium that I operate, meaning live video and whatnot, I would love to be able to just like, if I did a quick review of the park that I'm in and just to do a walkthrough and whatever, and to be able to post that link, from a share, one of my current sites or whatever, it'd be really cool as a community effort to those that, prefer to just whip out their phone and do hey, this is a quick walkthrough. This is the things you need to pay attention to. Parking, this is what it all looks like. They can include that with the review or whatever. Is that, maybe that might be an enhancement, in the future.
Done. Go look at Kettle's. Go look at Kettle's articles on PNR. He does that. He embeds his cool YouTube videos. Yeah. And Eric, I'd be more than happy to like if you want a column space, like linking back to you, like I can put a little link in the columns directory. It's like this links back to Eric. And
we're already thinking now, and I was thinking, if you're looking, and so this is my last question is that if you're, if we have, say, budding writers out there that like to write, about POTAs or submit editorials or articles and stuff like that, can they reach out to you and say, hey, I'd like to start to contribute to that, magazine format that you're looking for?
Please do. Please, because Eric, as you know, content is king. And I hate to pitch like this, but this is kind of a chance of getting in at the ground floor of something that could completely fail. Or it could be something really, really fun. And I know a couple of my writers like Paul and Gettle and a few others are at W1ETC. Like they're thinking the same thing. Like I know how to do magazines. I've done more than one, and I know how to publish books. And like this is a chance to get into something in POTA that's new and might grow really, really fast.
Well, and actually, Plasma Storm had an interesting comment. He said his knees don't allow him to hike, but Plasma Storm, you might actually have an opportunity here to submit articles or write-ups on parks from your stance of like, hey, I just can only go in 10 feet, or I look for this picnic bench or that type of stuff, and contribute in that way, because I'm sure there's very much a demographic that you represent and can offer to a lot of folks there to be able to say, hey, I can go out and do POTA. I don't have to like be a hiker and go in 20 miles to officially, spot myself on the park. And so that's awesome.
You do. Okay. No, just kidding. And like perspectives, right? That person's going to see something that I don't see.
Yeah.
Because there's different eyes. Yeah.
And that's why I think as POTA as a whole is so great, because all of us, when we do, that recon of email and asking people, we always get a great perspective and a different view. And, we always see something that, we might not see. And I've been in, club meetings or, breakfasts with other club members, and we talk about POTA, and it's like, oh, where did you go? And how did you do this? And they always find the individuals that activate those parks and know how to, just, hey, I'm struggling with, and it just becomes this community kind of sharing. And awesome. So better bring that online and have it as a full-time resource. So I'm super excited. I'm going to join the newsletter. So if you guys haven't, head over to POTA.News, sign up there. Start contributing and helping out as much as you can. And we'll see this kind of grow, because I think we've got a great opportunity here. And those that want to contribute, definitely reach out to Perry and try to, give as much as you can to see where we can get this, to kind of take off. It's just one more great resource out there in POTA. And I always love to see it and promote it.
I couldn't have said it better. And thank you again, everybody. I can see the chat now. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yes. Anytime. So we will definitely, have you back on, Perry, as you kind of thing. You just hit me up if you start to add stuff, or there's something you want to kind of give a quick, review update on. We'll love to have you back and have you, share that with the community because, like as I said earlier, that POTA map is going to be my bread and butter for everything going forward. And we might actually have to have you on to talk a special episode about the whole POTA query language so you can teach people how to use it and go into depth.
It doesn't get a lot of use right now, except for people like you and me who are like into IT. Like, oh, of course, we're going to query the database.
Yeah. When you say that to an average Joe, they're like, "What are you doing? What rocket are you launching?"
Exactly.
So very cool. All right. Well, Roger says, "Great website. Thanks, Perry. I appreciate all you guys still hanging out in the chat." And so if you got more questions, as we always like to say, we've got our Discord over there, and we'd love to have you guys come in. And add your questions there and keep the conversation going. We've got a channel called N1JUR Brew Activate, so head on over there, chime in. We'll make sure Perry, adds a few things, or if you got questions for him, I can redirect him over. He's already part of our Discord, so awesome on that. And so outside of that, if you obviously want everything to go to tips, is there any other resources that you want people to kind of check out about you, or we've covered them all?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you're curious about my background, my QRZ bio has where I've been and what I did, and I will mention that I do listen on D-Star on XLX 845. 845 is POTA Home. That's a D-Star reflector that I set up. And if you're a DMR guy, TGIF 846 is also POTA Home on the DMR side. I monitor both. Very little activity there, but that could grow too. Yeah,
we try. We won't get into the repeater conversation. Some of the day in the future.
Exactly.
All right, cool. Well, let's kind of wrap this up. So we had a great conversation there in the chat. Thank you guys for everybody who threw in the super chats and those memberships. You know who you are, and I thank you guys so much for helping support the channel and keeping this stream obviously ad-free for sure. And we always say, thank you again for tuning in to Brew and Activate. We can't, it'd be just Perry and I just sitting here talking to each other. Not that that would be a bad thing, but we get to share some really cool stuff with you guys, and we're super excited to, that you guys hopefully enjoyed what Perry went over today, and go over and help him out. Go over, help that site, promote it. Let's start really expanding the reviews, because I think it's a very valuable resource and always definitely useful for us as activators, us as hunters, and all of those in between. And so if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe, like, and share with other fellow POTA enthusiasts like myself and Perry. And head over, like I said, to join our community. Check out all of our sponsors to help support the show, because we can't do it without them. And we thank you guys for all of those, support as members. As we like to say, every week we gather here every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So hopefully we see you next week. Please, as always, spread this to other POTA enthusiasts. And until next time, keep your radios on and the PT down and POTA on and 7-3.
And keep your coax clean.